NFL Live is presented by Lowe's.
Here's our timeline this afternoon at 11:27. Bucs OC Todd Monken says he does anticipate Jameis Winston will throw in practice today. Jags running back Leonard Fournette is not expected to practice today. This is the second day of practice he's missed this week. And just afternoon on the East Coast, Adam Schefter reports the NFL fined Steelers safety Mike Mitchell just over $48,000 for that late hit on Chiefs quarterback Alex Smith. Also, Panthers linebacker Luke Kuechly did participate in individual drills, but not teamwork, during the portion of practice open to the media. Kuechly concurrently in concussion protocol. Welcome all on this Thursday afternoon. Glad to have you. Adam Schefter is here. So too is Teddy Bruschi, Herm Edwards. I'm Wendy Nix. A big AFC West showdown tonight as we kick off Week 7 between the Raiders and the Chiefs. Alex Smith put up some MVP caliber numbers. 12 touchdown passes and no picks. That's tied with Randall Cunningham in 98 for the most touchdowns without an interception in the team's first 6 games of the season. Things have not been perfect in Oakland. It's dropped 4 straight after starting 2-0. 7 teams in the Super Bowl era have lost 5 straight after a 2-0 start, and none made it to the playoffs. The Raiders signed linebacker Navarro Bowman on Monday. He is expected to play. Bowman, one of 3 guys with at least 4 first-team All-Pro selections since the start of 2010. We welcome now Paul Gutierrez, who joins us to preview tonight's game in Oakland. And let's start with this. Derek Carr, 1-5, Paul, in his career against the Chiefs. What has Kansas City done so effectively to shut him down?
I'll tell you, Wendy, if you ask Derek Carr, he'll tell you the Chiefs defend the run pretty well. They rush the passer very well, and they defend the pass. So you do all of those things well against anybody, you're going to have some success. And the numbers bear that out as well. In the 5-game losing streak against the Chiefs, Derek Carr is only completing 56% of his passes against them. He's also thrown 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he's averaging less than 5 yards per attempt per pass. That's not gonna win you very many games. So what they're talking about he needs to do is get back to his rookie self. His first ever win, you got to remember, came against the same Chiefs team on a Thursday night in Oakland in the rain, and all of those elements may be in play again tonight. So they don't want a careless Carr. They need a carefree Carr. And it's felt like that in the locker room all week long. The team playing not like they have nothing to lose, but everything to gain.
Paul, why do you think Marshawn Lynch has not quite lived up to the expectations and had the impact we all thought he might heading into the season?
Yeah, that week 2 getting hyphy on the sideline seems like a long time ago. And when you look at those first 2 games when the Raiders did look like a Super Bowl contender, they were pounding the ball. They were closing games out with Marshawn Lynch, and that was the formula. That's what they were supposed to do. But something happened with that offensive line, whether they were running a power scheme or playing too much zone blocking for Marshawn Lynch, his yards before contact went significantly down, starting with that Washington game. So there's a lot of things they're trying to figure out with that line, and with Marshawn Lynch, it would be real easy to look at him and say, well, he's shot, he's done. But they still feel like they can get things going. And they had things going against the Chargers last weekend. Talking to offensive coordinator Todd Downing, simply cannot get deep enough into the playbook in a game. And when you can't do that, you become way too predictable, and teams are able to just stack the box in front of him.
Well, Paul, thank you. Look, the rushing attack for the Raiders is down. It might not be all Lynch's fault, however. Oakland has committed an NFL-high $42 million in cap dollars to the O-line in 2017. That unit's excelled in pass protection, but run blocking, not so much. The Raiders' rushing unit averaging the 3rd fewest yards per contact per rush, meaning they're getting contacted quickly after crossing the line of scrimmage. So there's a number of reasons, Coach, why this offense just hasn't come together with the way we thought it might and the way it looked like it might in those first 2 games. What has happened?
Well, it starts and it ends with the offensive line. They put a lot of money into this group of players, and they were outstanding last year. Top 5 offensive line in the National Football League. This year, not so much. Watch this one run play. It is 2nd and 2. We're going to give it to Marshawn Lynch. Now, he's lined up 8 yards in the backfield. Watch how the line of scrimmage changes for the white shirts. How you going to run the ball like that? He can't hardly get the handoff. This is minus 3 yards. Now, here we go. They double a lot of times their wide receiver. And we want to go to Amari Cooper. Watch what happens here. They're in a nice set, going to get great protection, 2nd and 7. They want to throw it to Amari Cooper. And this is a little bit on the quarterback. David Carr early in the game. This is what we call two coverage. We have a flat defender and a deep defender, and he throws it deep. Interception, Washington. Now we have an RPO, run-pass situation. How many guys in the box? Too many. I'm going to throw a slant to Amari Cooper. Watch this. This looks like me, or no, this looks like Adam trying to catch this ball. Watch it. That's why you're sitting up here. I've seen you on the jugs. That's how you catch the ball.
He caught some.
Yeah, he caught some.
He caught some.
Like that.
No, I know. I got your back, Adam.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
We mentioned it earlier. Navarro Bowman has been signed by the Raiders. He is expected to play. So, Teddy, what impact will he have?
Well, the immediate impact, Wendy, is going to be leadership, the veteran leadership he can bring and calm down a defense that hasn't done well so far this season. But what does Navarro Bowman have to offer? It's he's pre-injury, he was a special linebacker. So this is this is my Thursday backer tracker right here. These are franchise moments for the San Francisco 49ers, breaking up a pass that sends them to the Super Bowl. Ball with interception, closing out Candlestick Park for a touchdown. We all remember these moments. This is pre-injury Bowman right here. What can you still expect from him now? I think in the box, he can still make a tackle for you on the goal line like he did earlier this year against the Los Angeles Rams. Sideline to sideline, not as fast anymore, but still can find a way to get it done because he can anticipate plays. But I think this is the biggest difference here versus the Cardinals last week. This is a quarterback pressure. The ball's about to be out right here. I think pre-injury Bowman makes a sack right there, and that ball isn't even thrown. So that's where I think the difference is. He can still get there. He can still contribute. Can he still make plays like he did to send them to the Super Bowl? I don't think so, but he can help you with leadership, character, calling out plays, settling your defense down, and still making plays versus the run.
And there is the key, because tonight they're going up against a guy who is bidding to become just the second running back in NFL history to reach 1,000 yards, go over 1,000 yards in his first 6 NFL games. You look at the numbers, and they are off the charts right now. The only other running back to ever get that many yards in his first 7 career NFL games is Eric Dickerson. Kareem Hunt right now needs 115 yards to get to 1,000 for the season. He'll be at 1,000 tonight if he gets 115 more. He's been the spark plug to the Chiefs offense. He's been the offensive rookie of the year. He's been an MVP candidate, and he'll be running the ball right at Navarro Bowman tonight.
Did you just mention Eric Dickerson? Number 29?
Those are the numbers.
Have you heard of him?
Oh, a teammate.
Those are the numbers.
I would think
There's
Andy
only
Reid
one running
would want
back
to get him that too.
Only one running back who's ever gone over 1,000 yards in the first 7 games. Kareem Hunt now has the chance to become the second in NFL history to do that tonight.
You think that offensive line wants that for him?
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll be on that offensive line that got that
That
mark for him?
offensive line does.
Absolutely.
You think the Raiders don't know that stat?
100 yards
do
in
now.
each of his first 6 games.
I would hope if you're a coach, you reminded those Raiders that. Remind them this, too. If you go 2-5,
that's a bigger issue. That's a bigger issue.
4% of the time when you're a 2-5 football team, you get in the playoffs. 4%. I know that. I know that number.
You've been there.
So you're
I was
saying
2-5.
there's a chance.
And won the division.
You were in that 4%. I'm going to call you 4%.
I remember that.
It's a dark hole.
You always point
and if
that
they
out
go,
to me, man.
they talk about the black hole in Oakland. They go 2-5, then you just walk up there in the black hole and be with those fans.
What division was that you won now?
That was the division you were in.
Yeah, I know. Why you always got to bring that up, Coach?
Just saying.
Actually, you brought that up.
Yes, to be fair, I believe it was.
That's the last time the Jets won the division. What are you talking about? It's a long time ago. I get it.
We digress. Listen, bottom line, Kareem Hunt having a pretty good year, and it just stands to get better. Also having a pretty good year, at least we hope so, our Hall of Fame quarterback.
That's so lefty. Look at lefty out there. Lefty.
All right, Steve, let's start here. Anything that Raiders defense can take away from how the Steelers handled Alex Smith and that Chiefs offense?
You think about the Steelers coming off their loss the week before and then Ben Roethlisberger's 5 interceptions. You sense that the Steelers and this is why Knute Rockne's famous in football, because he makes a speech and everybody goes, yeah, and then they go play great football. It can change the nature of how you play. And that's they went to Kansas City and dominated the line of scrimmage. You think about Alex Smith was under 300 yards, 35 QBR, Kareem Hunt 9 carries for 21 yards. That's dominating the line of scrimmage, sacking Alex Smith, putting him in a bad spot. That's what the Raiders need to do. They need to come off of a tough loss. The season's on the line. The Perm just talked about you don't go 2-5 and dominate in the AFC West. It's just not going to happen. So you have to win tonight. So everyone rally up. It's Newt Rockne time, and that they're going to have to dominate the line of scrimmage. And Khalil Mack's going to have to dominate tonight to make a difference, because that's how you get after the Chiefs. If you give some space to the Chiefs, that offense gets some air, then Kareem, he gets going, then they get outside with all the speed, and now you get in trouble and the Chiefs can run you over.
Steve, there's no question it's Newt Rockne time for the Raiders. But the interesting thing, of course, is that so many of us picked them to dominate the division. What have you seen that surprised you?
Well, offensively is the biggest issue. I mean, this is a team that's below average in points. It's significant. It's almost last, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th in pass offense, total yardage. Rushing, I mean, Marshawn Lynch is supposed to come in and be, the big weapon that's going to help in the rushing game. They're 24th. I mean, this is you look at offensive statistics for this Oakland Raider team, you're in Cleveland Brown territory. You're in like the bottom of the heap. You cannot dominate in anything in football if that's where you're going to be offensively. This is supposed to be a top 5 offense. They have changed offensive coordinators. We understand that Bill Musgrave's gone, Dowling's in, but that's been an issue because they have not gotten, even with Derek Carr, they have not gotten going. So that's, to me, if the Raiders have any chance, they have to start getting at least above average in all those statistical categories to be anything kind of a threat in the AFC West.
4% chance when you go 2-5, says our resident coach here. So we'll see. Tonight, almost a must-win for the Raiders. Steve, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with you in just a minute, not the least of which will be our quarterback spotlight. For so many teams, their season starts and ends with the quarterback position. We'll tell you who's in a good spot this week. Plus, Andrew Luck faces a tough road ahead.
You're watching NFL Live.
7 Monday night matchup, a big NFC East battle between Kirk Cousins and the Redskins facing Carson Wentz and the first place Philadelphia Eagles coach. First place Philadelphia Eagles. Our coverage will begin with Monday night countdown at 6 o'clock. It's also available in Spanish on ESPN2. For more, though, on this game, we welcome in ESPN Redskins reporter John Keim. John, the Redskins secondary pretty banged up heading into this matchup against that Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. What's the latest on Josh Norman and Bashaud Breeland?
Yeah, Wendy, we just got out of practice. We were able to watch Norman and Breeland both go through individual drills for the Redskins. Norman has the fractured rib. He missed last week against San Francisco. Breeland sprained his left MCL against the Niners. Both of their status was in doubt, but they were both able to work. Norman was able to drive and plan on his, to go forward on some drills, was wearing a protective pad. Breeland had a compression sleeve on his left knee to kind of keep it warm and keep it loose. But the big key was Breeland lined up to go one-on-one against the receivers. Now, he went against Jamison Crowder. Crowder cuts inside. Secondary coach Torian Gray realizes that Breeland's out there and just yelled out, "Chill on these, Bree, chill on these." So Breeland slowed down and retreated to the sidelines where he watched the rest of that drill. But I think the fact that both those players are out there has to give the Redskins some hope that one or both will be ready to go Monday against the Eagles.
They could use them. Thank you, John. And now for the Eagles side of this matchup, we'll turn to Philadelphia, where ESPN Eagles reporter Tim McManus joins us. And Tim, Carson Wentz leads the league in touchdown passes, yards per attempt, and total QBR on third down. What have they said about what has been the positive and somewhat rapid development of Carson Wentz?
Well, he certainly caught the attention of Washington head coach Jay Gruden. We just got off a conference call with him, and he said that Wentz has developed as quick as any quarterback that he's ever seen, adding that he's already one of the best QBs in the league, and said that, "I don't know how he got to Philadelphia, and I'm upset about it." So he knows that he certainly has his hands full on Monday night, and that applies directly to Wentz and Zach Ertz. That combination has been on fire. 34 completions between the two of them this season, leads the NFL with QB tight end combos. And even if you go all the way back to week 8 of last year, they have been the top quarterback tight end combination in the NFL. Ertz likes playing Washington in particular. He has career highs in targets, receptions, and yards against the Redskins, and so he's looking for a big game on Monday night.
So far, so very good for Carson Wentz and these Eagles. Tim, thank you. Not the same story for Colts quarterback Andrew Luck, who has suffered a setback. He will now stop throwing due to soreness in his right shoulder. That is where he had surgery in January. He practiced for 2 days, 2 weeks ago, then gradually increased his workload, but now we'll have to shut it down. Here's GM Chris Ballard.
Understand this. Every player is different. Every rehab is different. Every surgery is different. So that's why we've never put a timeline on this. You just don't. Every guy's different. And the good news is Andrew is very in tune with his body, and he's being honest about what's going on. And that's what we want. That's what we need.
Well, Adam, clearly we knew this would take some time, and the signs had not been all that positive. But this setback is not good news.
No.
What happens now?
Well, listen, we're going into week 7. He's not going to throw here for a couple of weeks. Now we're in week 9. Now they're 2-4. You're wondering whether they're going to be able to stay alive in the AFC South by the time he's ready to even begin practicing no less play. Are they going to be competitive enough that it's worth the risk to even put him out there? So I think it's fair to say at this point in time, his 2017 season is in jeopardy. It's probably always been in jeopardy. And Herm, you know how long it takes to recover from a shoulder surgery like this. You had Chad Pennington go through this, so you can speak to that. But the fact of the matter is, we haven't seen Andrew Luck. We're not close to seeing Andrew Luck, and we're 7 weeks into the season, which tells you there's a chance we may not see him at all this year.
Adam makes a great point, and we talked about this when the season began. And I remember sitting right in this seat, because this is where I've sat the last 9 years, always on the end for some reason, trying to kick me out. But this is a year-long project with Andrew Luck. And we said it. I said there'll be some signs where he maybe can throw the ball, and the next day or two he'll say he can't throw, coach. But they're doing the right thing by the player. They have to. This is their franchise player. This is still a young football team. Kobe Brissett has done a nice enough job to keep them in the hunt. Remember, 3-3 is leading the division. And so you have Kobe Brissett. Every week it seems like he has more grasp of the offense. So they got to go compete. Chuck Pagano, knowing him personally, is not going to allow this guy to play unless he is healthy. He will not jeopardize this guy's career. There's no way. No way this organization won't. They will not. They won't do it to the guy. And it's not fair to Andrew Luck.
No, it's not. And at this point, to Adam's point, given where we are, and you're talking about late in the second half, perhaps, when he could return anyway, you just have to wonder if it's worth it. But, Teddy, that's easy for us to say as we sit here. If you're in that locker room and you had hoped he'll be back and you heard he was coming back and now he's not, I mean, how do you manage that mindset?
I don't know how much hope there was in the first place.
Fair enough.
Because if you got teammates, your teammates are going into the training room. They're talking to the trainers. They're saying, hey, what do you think about Andrew? Is it a possibility of this year or anything? I would assume that they knew already that it was a long shot possibly that he would come back. And then so now them hearing, if I'm hearing this was already such a severe injury that he needs to come back from, and all of a sudden now he needs to be shut down when he was just doing a little bit of throwing. You know now, see you next year. I think they know too. I mean, their average age in that locker room is 26 years old. You take away a 44-year-old kicker, it's going to be a lot younger than that.
Poor Adam Vinatieri.
Okay? Because I know him. We came in together. He's my age, all right? So this is a young team. I think they know they still have a good young quarterback, and a lot of these teammates have to know that the chances of Andrew not even throwing a pass to them this year is very high.
I'm going to tell you this, coming into the season, the Colts players, some of the Colts players, thought that he was going to miss 5-6 games because I was getting calls this summer that the players were saying that he's going to be out 5 to 6 games. I think they thought there was a real chance they'd have him back by now. But the fact that they even knew then that there was going to be a healthy chunk of the season that would go by without him tells you that I don't know if they've ever fully counted on him. They see what's going on there. They see how it comes along. Now, I can tell you this. I think about a week ago, there was some hope and optimism that he'd come along and possibly be back as soon as week 8, possibly. But this is a setback, and this gets them back to where they were hoping to avoid, and this gets back to raising the questions about whether he'll be able to play again this year and whether Jacoby Brissett will ride this out.
You know, I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about this rehab or what, but you need a shot for inflammation. You need to give a shot of cortisone for inflammation.
It's a masking agent, basically, to hide the pain that you have.
This is no. Here's a couple Advil.
No,
here's some Aleve,
you're
man.
right.
We'll see how you are tomorrow morning.
And you know, the hope that this organization had with Andrew Luck, because he's had injuries before, he's come back. But they got to protect Andrew Luck from Andrew Luck right now.
From himself, yes.
Without question. His 132 touchdown pass is the third most by a player in his first 5 seasons in NFL history. That's only Dan Marino and Peyton Manning who have done that as well. So he's in elite company, and his future they certainly don't want to risk. The owners' meetings have wrapped up in New York City, but Seahawks Michael Bennett wants more to be done to bring players and owners together.
I think the first step to even being able to even have a conversation is make sure that Colin Kaepernick gets an opportunity.